Live scenes from the Cardiff City Stadium as Neil Warnock confronts the match officials.
Dear Lord, what a sad little life, Jane. You ruined my night completely.
Stunning scenes. Welcome to On the Counter. Bow, 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 bow. Hello and welcome to On the Counter. This week we are talking to a Saints fan, Joe Lemon. Joe, did you enjoy the weekend's football?
Oh, I did indeed.
Well, except for one result, which we'll get on to in a bit.
Well, what can I say, Bruce? Yeah. The Bruce and Joe derby ended in a victory for me.
Shall we start with Brighton Southampton? I mean, it wasn't the most important game of the weekend, but it was to us too.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
Brighton was shite. That's
and we weren't.
Yeah, true. The with Southampton, has Hasenhüttl really changed things for you?
Yeah, I think there's a completely different vibe around the place. You think you're not coming into work every day and seeing Mark Hughes.
Yeah,
can you imagine how bleak an existence that must be?
I don't like seeing him on my television, let alone wanting to talk to him.
When I see him back interview after a game, I'm just like, oh, go away. Hasenhüttl, on the other hand, massively positive.
Yeah.
Look at the performances he's getting out of Ward-Prowse, he's getting out of Redmond. Like Ward-Prowse.
I've never seen Nathan Redmond so. What's the word?
Fired up.
Yeah, like
consistent,
interested.
Yeah,
like he seems to really brought into what he's trying to push. He's playing down the middle as well, which is quite strange.
We've tried that before, and it's not really worked. It didn't work under Hughes at all. But since Hasenhüttl's come in, it's really worked. He's really taken off, to be honest.
But looking at the stats, 40% possession, so you're not relying anymore on being a possession-based team. So I feel like under Pochettino, you needed the ball to do anything. You don't need the ball anymore, really.
We hit teams on the counter as well.
Yeah.
Look at the goal.
The goal, yeah.
And look at the chance. There was one just before that, which was the same sort of move. Redmond through the middle, Højbjerg on the overlap on the left-hand side in the first half as well, which we almost scored from. And it was like the same move just occurred in the second half as well. Højbjerg's another one who's really picked it up under Hasenhüttl.
Angus Gunn also had a very good game. I know Brian only had one shot on target, but he was very commanding. You've got a strange goalkeeping decision at Southampton with Alex McCarthy as well.
Yeah.
He's obviously lost his England place because of it as well. Would you prefer Angus Gunn over Alex McCarthy?
Hard to say. I think they're both keepers who are around the same sort of level. I don't notice a massive amount of difference between the two of them. The thing with Angus Gunn is he's very slight as a person. I almost feel like this sounds weird. He's put a bit of weight on. Yeah. Like he looks very nimble.
Like De Gea was when he first joined United.
Absolutely. And Gunn's very young still. But you've got to think about the Saints' approach as well. Often we'll be buying these players with an option to sell them.
Yeah.
There's always a cynical kind of view involved. I don't think Hasenhüttl's after, but probably even thinking about selling players. But there is an element of that comes. I think Redmond and Ward-Prowse are prime evidence of two players that haven't left because they've not got to that level where they're ready to move on.
Might now.
Yeah, there's always a kind of, I don't know, an issue when it comes to our players. Once they get good, you worry, oh crap, when's the 40 million bid going to come in from someone?
Well, it was a big win for Southampton, obviously, but with Brighton losing, but still 5 points clear because Cardiff lost. Who do you see going down?
I think after yesterday, it's got to be Cardiff.
Yeah.
I think you've hit a bad patch of form at the wrong time. We've hit a good patch of form at the right time. I could see you getting dragged into it.
It's a good thing we won the last two games, to be fair.
Yeah, but I think if Cardiff had got a result yesterday, would have been up in the air. But with that loss, I can't see how, with 5 points in it, they're going to stay up at this point.
Well, let's move on to Cardiff-Chelsea. Neil Warnock, absolutely livid. Stare down with the match officials after the game. Cardiff were kind of robbed. Should have had a penalty as well.
Yeah.
With Rudiger pulling Zohore. Also, Rudiger probably should have been sent off towards the end with the last man, but that was also very debatable. Neil Warnock's just the gift that keeps on giving, isn't he?
Oh, he really is. I've loved having him back in the Prem this season. I would follow Cardiff in the Championship last season just to watch his interviews occasionally. His whole... what I love about Warnock is he understands the psychology of the game as well. The end of the game where he just went and waited in the centre circle and stood with his arms
Didn't put the blame on him.
Yeah, hands on his hips against the officials, clapping the fans as well. It was like, Neil's got this down. He knows what he's up to. Like, putting all the blame on the officials. It was one of those days where I think officials get blamed too often, but that was...
It was a terrible decision.
Oh, it was awful.
His reasoning for it was, and you do see it from one angle, but Willian is stood right in front of the linesman. And obviously, if he hasn't seen it, he can't exactly just give it thinking that someone's offside. But obviously, that's where the VAR conversation comes into play. But that's an obvious error. That would be fixed in 2 seconds.
Sure, absolutely.
So, also Chelsea as well. That's big for them in the race of the top 4. There's now, is there like 4 teams on 60 points now?
Yeah.
So,
Spurs, Arsenal, United as well.
do you reckon Sarri's going to see out the season, or do you reckon one bad result and he'll go?
I think they'd be stupid to get rid of him now, unless Gus Hiddink's on speed dial, which might be their go-to.
Avram Grant.
Oh, where's he now? Probably, I don't know, the prostitute somewhere, I imagine, at a Pompey industrial estate. Yeah, that's where he likes to hang out. But I think they'd be silly to get rid of Sarri with, 7 games to go?
Yeah.
It would just seem rash. Let him see out the season.
If they lost that game, do you reckon he would have gone?
It's a hard one. But the fans, what I love about Chelsea is how fickle the fans are. 1 minute they're singing about getting Sarri out. And then they go...
Loftus-Cheek scores.
Yeah, and I was pleased for Loftus-Cheek as well. What I'd like to see, and if I was a Chelsea fan, I'd be frustrated, lack of Hudson-Odoi, lack of Loftus-Cheek in there as well.
A lot of people saying they're surprised he didn't start, because it's Cardiff away. It's not exactly like... Well, they were expected to win that. He didn't even play a part in it.
I just don't know if he doesn't fit into Sarri's system, style.
It's exactly what they needed yesterday, because they needed someone to be a bit more direct, and he's probably the most direct player they've got on that bench. And Willian faffs about with it all the time.
No, you could argue Hazard can be direct when they want him to be direct as well. And he started on the bench as well. It was a really strange setup, I thought, yesterday.
Yeah, I don't know if he's not exactly resting, but they've got Brighton on Wednesday at Stamford Bridge. It's not exactly, and we're going to be probably got our mind concentrating on an FA Cup semi-final at the weekend.
Well, I wonder if they'll be pushing for the Europa League a bit more as well now that they're in the quarter-finals, and there's Champions League qualification that can come via that. So maybe they've got that in the back of their mind as well.
Well, let's talk about the race for the title now. Liverpool 2, Tottenham 1. Hugo Lloris, absolute shocker towards the end of the game.
He had a bad game generally, I thought.
I think both goalkeepers didn't have a great game. Alisson was very off the ball yesterday.
He was lucky with that one where he came out and it hit the back of, was it Van Dijk's head it hit the back of? Like, I was thinking to myself, that's either great goalkeeping or he's just lucky. And on the replay, it was like, nah, he was
like
very
Ryan Giggs'
lucky.
do you remember Patrice Evra taking the throw in and he like chucked it on the back of Patrice Evra and no one knew the throw had been taken. Dean Saunders, I think, did it as well, like scored from chucking the ball at the goalkeeper's back. Yeah.
Like Giggs is famous for doing people around the back in many ways, isn't he? So, you know.
And stabbing people in the back.
Well, that as well.
Big old Rodri. The stats were very even though. Tottenham had more possession by 1, and Liverpool had 1 more shot on target. Tottenham, before Liverpool scored their second, were on top for most of that game. Tottenham lacking a cutting edge in those big games.
I don't know what it is.
But that seems to be, we were talking about before, the weak link is at the moment probably fullbacks and goalkeeper.
Yeah, it's got to be Lloris, and I think Trippier's had a poor season.
He's literally living off the World Cup. Yeah.
And I think he looks like frustrated. He knows he's having a bad season. I think he's even said it in the press. Danny Rose is a strange one as well. I like Danny Rose as an attacking force, but defensively I think he's suspect at times. You look at Trippier and Rose's position yesterday for that winner that Liverpool scored, and it was kind of all over the place after the corner. They were sort of trying too hard to get back into position.
It's a great clearance by Kane, to be fair. Before
it was
quite unfortunate that it didn't come of anything.
Yeah.
Salah as well looks very desperate to get a goal. I think it's 1 in...
Well, he celebrated that like it was his own yesterday.
Yeah, it was... What is it? It's like 1 in 8 now? 1 in 9?
I think his general performance has been pretty good still, though.
Yeah, his goal return's still pretty good. He's still over 15 goals for the season, I think.
I think he got a lot of flack, and I think last season, you look at Liverpool play slightly different football to what they did last season as well. They've tightened things up a little bit. It was a necessary move for them to actually challenge for the title. I think if they were still playing all-out attacking game,
they get caught out a bit more.
Yeah, I think his return would be insane. Look at last season, and before last season, he wasn't that prolific. And you do often get those seasons where certain players come along, they'll score a load one season, and that'll be that one season. Right. Yeah, Yeah. So I've got a feeling he might just be one of those blip players, but I don't think his kind of overall game should be underestimated. I thought the second leg against Bayern Munich, I thought he was absolutely great during that game.
Yeah.
Some of his run-ins, some of his passing.
Mane's starting to become a bit more of a pivotal figure as well, even though he's inconsistent most of the time. But this last month or so, he's really picked it up.
But that's the thing with that Liverpool side. If Firmino and Salah stop scoring, Mane picks it up. If Mane's not scoring, Salah might pick it up.
So, lastly, Liverpool City, who's going to win the title?
I desperately want Liverpool to win it. I can't think of anything more dull than a perfect Man City win.
Yeah.
What a boring side.
Well, possible quadruple winners.
Oh, I can't think of anything more dull. You think of the Man United treble win in 1999, the character in that team, the nature of that win. Think of the dramatic game against Arsenal in the FA Cup. Think of the Champions League run that season.
Final,
and then you think of City's run. What's been dramatic about it? What's been interesting about it? There is beauty in imperfection, and that City side is too perfect and it's so dull.
Well, thank you very much, Joe. Let's move on to the next segment, which is Hot or Not. Yes, that's right, hot or not. Joe, give me your first, your only hot.
Nathan Redmond, I think, at the moment, is...
Sadly.
I think he's picked it up to a level that has kind of helped us form-wise and got us wins under Hasenhüttl. There's a completely different player. Arm around the shoulder.
Yeah.
That Guardiola chat from last season, it's almost like Hasenhüttl went away with Guardiola and said, what do you see?
Yeah.
And he's brought this out of him.
Do you reckon he'll get an England call-up in the future?
I think he'll be in contention.
Is the system maybe not fitted for him? Because if he's being played down the middle now, obviously Jamie Vardy just never fit in that team. Unless he took the Sterling role, maybe.
Vardy's a completely different sort of player to Redmond as well at the same time, I suppose.
But he's meant to be that small,
yeah,
nippy striker.
I think with Redmond you've got options as well. He's playing for the middle, but he has played well out wide as well. So I think I could see him getting a call-up at some point. Maybe not Nations League, but we'll see. We'll see. I'd like to see him get a call-up.
Do we have any friendlies before the Nations League?
We've got a couple of friendlies, but I can't think of who we're playing in those friendlies. But he'd be someone who I think has earned a place. You look at someone like James Maddison. You've got to think Redmond's got to be around that sort of level in terms of getting a call-up.
It depends if it's a purple patch or he can sustain it for a longer period of time. Maybe that's why he won't get called up for the next squad. But if he keeps up to the end of the season, then
he's in with a shout, definitely.
You're not.
I'd have to go for someone like Sarri, I think.
Yeah.
I think Sarri at the moment has been... I love Sarri because I find him hilarious. He's a character.
Is it because they're losing though?
Oh, yeah. And he's welcome in the league. But to me, he reminds me of Arlene Foster, the leader of a DUP. Put them side by side.
Going to be lost on half.
Put them side by side. Find an image. We'll get an image. And there's something about them. They both look a bit like each other.
Have they got the same ideologies?
I don't know, but I think Sarri's quite right-wing, isn't he? Arlene Foster's quite right-wing as well. Don't like abortion. But at the same time,
That's been Sarri's next press conference. Pro-life or pro-choice?
Oh, I'd love to hear that. Maybe you can get him and Arlene together for a little chat. Arlene.
Like the have them go for dinner. It might be like a Sam Allardyce sting and Sarri's there with a glass of wine and...
Possibly. Sam Allardyce, there's a man who loves a bit of Brexit as well, I think.
True.
Yeah.
I really want him to come back into football.
Well, he's got a house in Spain to look after, but maybe after Brexit...
He might get the Malaga job.
Oh, can you imagine that? Well, I wanted him to get the USA job. I just always had this vision of him in a cowboy hat, cowboy boots on the touchline. Like
red cowboy boots.
Yeah, but a yee-hawing up the boys.
Toothpick.
You can picture it now, can't you? Imagine
I think we might have to
shoot.
try and edit a picture together of Sam Allardyce as a cowboy.
I think him and Steve Bruce at line dancing together would be like my dream.
Gavin and Stacey barn dance.
Oh, yeah. Brucey and Big Sam, definitely. Big bag of gravy in hand as well, I bet.
Bit of bisto. Well, thank you very much, Joe, if you're hot or not. Let's move on to the final segment of the show, which is quick-fire questions. Let's move on to the final segment of the show, which is quick-fire questions. I'm going to give you about 4 quick-fire questions, and then the first thing that comes to your head is just give me your answer. Ready?
Sure.
Lloris, the most overrated player?
Yes.
By far?
Don't know about by far, but he's definitely fallen in the last year or so.
3 years for Solskjaer, is that a good idea?
Absolutely.
3 years, though?
Yeah, I'm bang up for that.
Could it not be like a fluke, though?
He understands the psychology of that club, and I think that's absolutely vital.
Well, everyone that's come in before him really hasn't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if Sir Alex is pulling the strings, long it may be.
And Mike Phelan's going to be technical director.
Oh, mate, I love a bit of Phelan.
Bit of Mike.
He needs to get his shorts back on, though.
Yeah, we'll get scared.
Like
Popping the balloons.
He's looking a bit paunchy, though. I like Phelan with the weight gain.
He needs to give Angus Gunn some tips.
Oh, you get on the Phelan diet.
I don't even know what's in the Phelan stock cubes.
Oh, I'd be up for that.
Yeah. Player of the year?
Oh, God. Tough one.
Sterling, Van Dijk or Guerra, really, isn't it?
Mane for me.
Man, really?
Yeah. I think Mane's had
Is
a
that
great
not
season.
bit of Southampton bias?
Maybe, but then Van Dijk would be my second choice as well. I can't give it to a City player. That's where my bias will always get me. When it comes to City,
It's never City.
I can't pick anyone from
I mean,
City.
you're cheering Brighton on Saturday in the FA Cup semi-final.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. Up the Seagulls.
Champions League winner?
I'd like it to be Man United, but I think I'm dreaming there.
Do you reckon it'll be City?
I hope not. If it comes down to City Barca, for the first time in my life, I'll be cheering on Barcelona.
Have City got actually a decent chance of that quadruple? Do you reckon it?
Yeah, unfortunately,
Do you reckon it'll happen?
Yeah, the dullest quadruple, apart from one of the ones Celtic have probably done. I'd say it's the dullest quadruple.
Yeah, I don't think
they'll
Celtic
win.
have won the quadruple.
Have they not?
I don't think you can win 4 trophies since they're never going to win the Champions League.
Oh yeah, I suppose it's treble, isn't it? And then
Unless they like 68.
they got to the. No, I don't think they did. I don't know if there were two. Were there 2 trophies in Scotland at that time? I'm not sure.
I don't know. They don't even play football in Scotland.
67 as well.
67.
68 was Man United.
Oh yeah, of course it was. Sorry, Sam's going to be livid. Last question we always end with: favourite ever player and why?
Oh, Matt Le Tissier.
Matt Le Tissier, of course.
Southampton through and through.
Loves an ice cream.
Oh yeah, mate, he loves a bit of munch generally.
Yeah.
My hero as a child. Used to see him just around all the time. Still see him when I'm at home sometimes as well. He'll talk to anyone. He's the absolute kind of pride of that city.
Nice bloke.
Top bloke.
Does that make him more likeable as a player as well?
Yeah.
And also he's very skillful for English.
He's everything a football player should be. Low maintenance, happy with their lot in life.
Doesn't want like new contracts all the time.
No, the most he was paid was £4,000 a week, which is I'd take £4,000 a week. But in that day and age as well, when wages were really going through the roof, he could have gone anywhere, and he stuck with us through, to the end. Finished his career with us.
Never had much controversy either, is it?
Well, apart from when he started getting out that woman from Home and Away, who then was then in Emmerdale. She was fit.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We'll get a picture of her.
He had an affair, I think,
at
one point with
Well,
her.
allegedly. Or is it like fully
No, he did. It was on the front page of the Daily Echo.
Okay.
But just a top bloke through and through.
Except for the affair.
Whatever. Model professional. Great on the pitch, great on the training ground. Time for his fans as well.
Yeah.
Understands that he's got this kind of legacy in Southampton because he was a great player, but also he embraced us as fans.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Joe. That's all we've got time for this week. But we'll see you next week when we'll have more On the Counter. See you next time.